evening, everyone. Welcome back once again to Vicious Rants, and of course I'm your host, your YouTube Messiah, and often imitated, never duplicated superstar Tim Vicious, and gonna go over Extreme Rules. It was as per the norm in the Performance Center, but this was a bit of a big wrestle weekend, if you will, because Saturday before it was Slammiversary, and a lot of nice surprises happened at Slammiversary. Eddie Edwards became the new champ. Heath made a surprise debut. The Good Brothers, Gallows and Anderson, are now on Impact as well. So, as well as quite possibly the biggest shock that took place for me was the Motor City Machine Guns came back, and I still stand by the argument of the two greatest things that came out of Detroit are the Motor City Machine Guns and Kendra Lust. Prove me otherwise down below if you feel it. Also, I'm going to say this about what Impact, they've been teasing and teasing and teasing, saying a world champion was going to make a surprise return, and the build-up was so big and hyped, and they were really pushing heavy, like you were expecting like an EC3 or Kurt Angle or Bully Ray and Eric Young. And it's not to discredit Eric Young, it's just given the build-up that they had, and you got that, it's like expecting filet mignon, but being given ground chuck. You know, it is the best way I could describe that. But yeah, I would say, dare I say, Slammiversary probably had the better. Impact probably had the better of the weekend, because this show was pretty okay, but a lot of the endings in the matches were kind of ugh. So, first things first, pre-show match, Kevin Owens versus Murphy. Had a nice fast brawl at the start. Murphy, he was leading the pace. It was a damn good match. I fucking liked it, you know. It came to an end when Owens wound up dodging a meteor, I believe. Yeah, it was a meteora, and then caught him with a super kick, caught Murphy with a super kick, and then a stunner, 1, 2, 3, that was it. So, yeah, like I said, it was a damn good match, and a lot of people were up in arms saying, oh, Owens shouldn't be on the pre-show, this, that, and the other. Okay, you want to complain about that, but give fucking logic and reasoning behind your argument instead of just putting it out there so vague, like, you know, like some mindless Twitter troll sheep fucking thing. Ugh. Anyways, now on to the main show. First match was New Day versus Cesaro and Nakamura. Tag team table match. Really good, solid brawl. A lot of good back and forth, as you'd expect, because, you know, it's a fucking table match. You know, you're not going to have one team, you know, dictate 99.9% of it and then have the other team right out of nowhere, boom, slam somebody through a table. Can't do that. That's just fucking common sense. But yeah, it was a decent match. I thought it was fucking good, you know. And probably the funniest thing, you know, you sit back and think about it, rewind the clock back a few years ago when New Day was feuding with the Dudleys. They were doing a thing saying to save the tables, and now look what they're doing. They're now looking to put somebody through the tables. Shame on you guys. Anyways, match came to an end when Cesaro had Shin assist him doing a powerbomb from the top rope onto stacked tables, one on top of the other, onto Kofi. Big E got taken out over on the other side of the ring, courtesy of Nakamura. He did that before coming over to help Cesaro. So your winners and new tag team champions are Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura, which, whew, Really cool. Next up, we got Nikki Cross going against Bayley. This was a really good match. Had a really nice, good underdog. You know, can I do it? I'm not really sure if I can, kind of story to it. Nikki, you know, moving really fast and fierce at the start. Really dug the shit out of that. You know, really liked also on how Bayley was working more so like Bayley. Now, on how she was working in the match, and this was just my perception on it, as is everything on this show, it's the way she was moving and working in it. She was going not so much like she was trying to end the match, but more so like she was just trying to stop Nikki from going. Just stop Nikki right then and there. Like, you know, I think that I make the point on that. But it was a damn good match. I thought it was pretty good. You know. Now, again, shitty ending though. It came to be when at one point Bayley, she was over on the apron, hurled over. Sasha came over, handed her something, then went over onto the other side, distracted the ref. Next thing you know, her and Bliss got into an argument. Bayley had one of those rings Sasha wears on her hand, and then boom, hit a loaded punch right in Nikki's gut, and then went and did a face plant on her, and then got the 1, 2, 3. So your winner, and still women's champion Bayley. Now, next matchup we got. Well, this match got a lot of criticism over it, and I'm gonna try and keep it to a minimum on how I dissect that. Seth going against Ray in an eye for an eye. Now, this really, basically the best way I could describe it, it was really, everything went just like a street fight. And what fucking pissed me off was, now we all know I fucking hate the dirt sheet jerk-offs, but that fucking idiot Brian Alvarez going out there and putting on his fucking Twitter gimmick, you know, oh, they're doing Irish whips and head scissors when the whole point of the match is to take out an opponent's eye? Yes, Brian, because seeing is on how you're somebody who did work in an independent circuit, I'm pretty sure you would be well aware of the fact that wrestling is a scripted storytelling event. So, it's not like Ray would just sit there and say, okay, Seth, now you're going to do this and then pluck my eye out. Or Seth is going to sit there and say, okay, Ray, you're going to take this and pluck my eye out, and I'm going to hold perfectly still. As opposed to them two beating the shit out of each other to give a sense of realism. Just, like I said, and probably one of the biggest issues I got with these dirt sheet jerk-off motherfuckers is, you know, you want to be, you know, they go and say they want to be journalists, but how I was brought up, if you're saying you're a journalist, you're unbiased. You don't show any bias, whether you like what you're reporting or you don't, you know? And fucking, I seen news anchors who absolutely loved the Philadelphia Phillies, the Philadelphia Eagles, Flyers, Sixers, all of the Philly teams. But they had to show complete bias while reporting whether they were talking about the good or the bad. Now, you want to go and say you're a wrestling journalist, you report on professional wrestling, okay, show bias then. Instead of putting out shit saying, why are they doing this or that, call it down the fucking middle, man. Ugh. That's like saying, well, it's a cage match, why don't they just walk out? There, that was the most I wanted to get on that. Now, as far as the match goes, I really dug the shit out of it because of the the concept of the brutality. You know, now obviously this is going to be a PG environment, so, you know, it's not like you're going to see from Kill Bill where, boom, pluck an eye out just like that. But Seth, you know, Seth got seriously fucking medieval, man. He wound up getting a rebar, fucking Singapore cane, trying to use that, prop it up and jam Ray's head. You know, tried using an end of a chair, all that shit. And Ray got just as bad. He broke the Singapore cane in two, took off one of the sharp end sticks of it, and tried jamming it into Seth. You know, it was fucking good. I thought it was pretty good. Now, on how the match came to an end, them two started getting at it near the steps again. At one point, Ray hit a curb stomp, started digging Seth's head into the stairs, and just as he was, Seth, boom, hit him with a mule kick right into the nuts. And rule of life, if you're gonna fight a rat, you're gonna fight dirty. So, anyone that ever says, oh, you're a dirty fighter, fucking ain't right. You do whatever you got to get out of a fight. And if that means you gotta kick someone in the balls, you kick that motherfucker in the balls. So, either way, Seth did that mule kick, then popped a curb stomp, and then started jamming his head into it. And then Ray fell on the floor, holding it, and then you just see a small little bit saying, and then ref calling for the bell. Seth sees it, next thing you know, like, and he shows physical sickness, and then walks away and then starts to puke. So, credit on that for the realism, saying that, you know, you understood that you had to get that sick, but now that you had to see the type of violence that you had to do, you're so emotionally and physically distraught from it that you puked, you threw up from it, from that, because you were disgusted by it. And, you know, they didn't really show Ray's eye, or like a glass eye. You only saw a small little bit of it, you know. A lot of people were making jokes on Twitter saying it looked like a fishing bobber covered in stage blood. I don't know what it was. But, yeah. So the following night on Raw, Seth wound up saying that now that Ray's been sacrificed, he did what he had to for the greater good. There's nothing stopping him from doing what he needs to make Raw in the image it has to be. And then out comes Aleister Black. Them two have a match, and then at the end, Seth puts Black's arm on the little wood flap thing on top of the announce table, and then does, boom, a curb stomp on that to mess up his arm. So we're going to be getting Seth and Black down the line. Don't worry, that wasn't a Rona cough. Next up we got, my future third ex-wife, Asuka, going against Sasha. And this nice little bit of back and forth. I liked on how, you know, Sasha, she was dictating the pace, you know, and, you know, really also dug the shit on how Sasha, you know, she was trying to focus on Asuka's arm. That way, you know, she couldn't pop. That way, they could say she'd had a hard time popping in the Asuka lock and all that. Now, it was a decent match. This was actually a really damn good match. This, I would dare say, was match of the fucking night. And then we got the ending, which, again, shitty ending. It was, You know, now, how the match came to an end. At one point, Asuka went to go and do the mist, the green mist, to Sasha. Sasha ducks, hits the ref instead. You hear the ref screaming and agonizing in pain. And Sasha, boom, takes out Asuka. And Bayley then climbs. Sasha takes her out with the belt. Bayley comes in, takes the Church ref off, and then does a 3 count on her own, and then insists the timekeeper rings the bell. They walk off. The following night on Raw now, the MILF in charge, Stephanie McMahon, via via satellite wound up saying the match did not have an official winner. So next week we are going to have Asuka versus Sasha for the title, and no interference from anyone on any part for any party, and no matter who wins in any type of way, they are the champion. So, yeah. Next up, we got Ziggler versus McIntyre, and this came to... Now, this was fucking beautiful and brilliant. Right before the match starts, Ziggler says, "Now I'm going to tell you my stipulation. It's Extreme Rules." Because, you know, what a shock. An Extreme Rules match at a pay-per-view called Extreme Rules. Who would have figured? But he said, however, he said, it only applies to him. No countouts, no DQs, no nothing for him. And if McIntyre does anything to get counted out or disqualified, he loses the title. So McIntyre has no advantage whatsoever. He doesn't have champion's advantage, and he's fighting in a, for lack of a better term, a handicapped like no DQ match, which, that was fucking brilliant. It's fucking brilliant when you think about it, because, again, storytelling. It's this villain who's been poking and prodding our beloved hero and champion, saying, "You wouldn't be there without me. You wouldn't be there without me." And now he has to back it up, and he does it by putting it in to his advantage. It's to his advantage. It's to where, you know, you look at it on paper, you're like, well, fuck. He's pretty much, the motherfucker's pretty much guaranteed to win then. Because, you know, he could use tables, chairs, trash cans, glass, whatever. McIntyre has to keep everything in the ring just like a traditional wrestling match. And Ziggler fucking worked like that, you know. He used every last bit of that to his advantage. He used chairs. He put Drew through a table. He did everything possible. And, you know, it was fucking beautiful. It was damn good. Match came to an end when eventually McIntyre, boom, hit him with a Glasgow kiss headbutt, and then popped him with a Claymore right out of nowhere when Ziggler was trying to tune up for a super kick, which, let this be a lesson to everyone. If you're going to emulate Shawn Michaels, emulate it by just doing the super kick. Don't emulate by taunting like Shawn did. So the following night on Raw, Drew talks about on how, you know, he's battered and sore, and then Ziggler comes out, blah, 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 blah. Long story short, they say they're going to do a rematch. But this time, Drew's going to pick the stipulation, and he's not going to tell Ziggler until it's the time of the title match. So now we come to the main event of the night. Bray Wyatt versus Braun Strowman in a Wyatt family swamp fight, which, yes, it was a cinematic battle, but holy shit, it was fucking good. You know, now, a lot of people were saying, well, it doesn't compare to the Boneyard match, or the Firefly Funhouse, or the Stadium Stampede. Okay, but here's the thing, though. We know what the fallout from those were. We haven't seen what the fallout from this is yet. So, let's give it time. Because for all you know, this, excuse me, small little nuances we may not have paid attention to during the swamp fight could lead to something fucking big down the road. Now, at one point, Braun, he was chasing it. Braun was trying to look for Bray, got attacked by himself, and then was chained up to a chair. Bray came over to him as the Eater of Worlds. I missed you. I missed you. Well, you know, and Braun, I'm going to kill you. You can't. I'm already dead. You know, which, okay, this was like, and this is where the horror movie fan in me really shows right here, because psychological horror, you know, that's my favorite kind, you know. What, you know, the psychological screw with your head, fuck you up kind. Not the, you know, I'm cool with jump scares, but you give me the psychological ones, I'm in like Flint. But it's like, holy shit. Okay, so the Eater, it's not saying that the man himself is, but the persona that type of person, you know? And that's what he's saying. And then he has this woman in a black veil, which I'm guessing was supposed to be like Abigail or something. I'll get to that in a minute. Brings out a cobra, bites Braun. He passes out, wakes up over by an open fire, starts beating up these dudes, sets one on fire, and then starts to walk off and hears, Braun, Braun, come to me, Braun. You know we're supposed to be together. She lifts the veil, and it's fucking Alexa Bliss, and then they play clips from the Mixed Match Challenge shit. It's just like, holy shit! Okay, so this is like a fucking... They're inside his head now. He's fucked up and tripping from that snake venom. You know? And then next thing you know, him and Bray start going at it. Braun slams Bray through onto a boat, and the boat rides off. And then he's like, just as he starts to walk away, the boat comes back. Them two start brawling again. Bray's hitting him with an oar. And just as it looks like it's done, next thing you know, Braun, boom, throws him into the water. You just see him lean over the dock with it. It's over. It's over. And you see that little bumper on the side, you know, that always plays at the end of the pay-per-view, saying pay-per-view year, World Wrestling Entertainment, copyright reserved, blah, blah, blah. And then he gets up, and then he hears something, turns back around, and get grabbed like this, pulled back down, and all you see is Braun fight. Oh! God! And then, boom, you see the Fiend come back out. So, and then it fades to black, and all you hear is, let me in. So, yeah. That right there, that storytelling was that the Mr. Rogers, like Bray Wyatt, went into his psyche, brought out that old persona of the Eater of Worlds to destroy the monster, Braun, and doing so, killed himself and brought back the Fiend. So, that was it, yeah. I thought it was a fucking good cinematic fight. So, excuse me. That is it for this week's show, folks. Please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, go back, watch some of the other episodes. Look for me on the Twitter at Tim Vicious. Also on that Facebook gimmick, Tim Ash. If you're going to look for me on my Facebook gimmick, let me know you found me on there from here. Or my Twitter at Tim Vicious. I don't think I Creed John going. Big ups to contributor of the show, LFC Lingerie Fighting Championship. It's a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of MMA, and a whole lot of attractive women wearing a little bit of nothing. Also, folks, big thanks to executive producer of the show, Ali Ray Ben, who did provide the music for this week's show. Make sure y'all check out his stuff. It's out there on iTunes, Spotify, and such. Details are down below. Those are one of these sweet Ali Ray Ben shirts. Hit me up and I'll talk to the man for you. Show him some love and support. Also, folks, don't forget to follow these cool ass cats right here on the Twitter at Mountain, Kenny Killer, DSP_IV, Diabolica RAN, Sergeant Curry Pants. And folks, like I always tell y'all, you love me great, you hate me. Fuck you.